On today's show, I check out Pandemonium on the PlayStation, Ridge Racer on the PlayStation, and in hardware, I check out the Sega Dreamcast. Now, Pandemonium is one of those games that you imagine what the next generation of games would look like when you're playing your Super Nintendo. Unfortunately, we have already seen a lot of fully 3D platformers instead of this pseudo 2.5D effect. Now, in terms of graphics, this game starts off this beautiful FMV cutscene, but the second you actually get thrown into the game, it looks like this. Now, I actually feel that the graphics are worse than what you would find on Donkey Kong Country. The box for this game actually advertises a freestyle 3D camera, but I was never able to get that working in the game. Instead, you have a camera that follows you whenever you turn a corner. Moving on to the audio, I felt like the sound effects to this game were very annoying. Every time I jumped, I had this weird springy sound effect that plays for some reason. The enemies to this game also have this really annoying moan whenever you would walk by them. Now, in terms of the music, even though it's forgettable, at least it feels appropriate based on the setting. Now, earlier I compared this game to Donkey Kong Country. Now, it goes further than that. At times, you actually control a rhino and you shoot out of barrels. Now, at other points, you run very fast and you bounce off the springs and it feels like a Sonic game. The game allows you to play as either Nicky or the Jester. Now, I saw no advantages playing as Nicky, whereas the Jester had this extra spin move he could do, and Nicky didn't have anything. Supposedly, she's supposed to be more acrobatic, but I did not feel that while playing the game. The game has about 18 unique levels in it. You got things like frozen tundras, you got sky palaces, you got Wild West levels. I felt like the boss fights to this game were really cool. The game is difficult, and I wouldn't say that it's fair. It feels like you have to have the level memorized in order to beat it. The camera just moves too slowly, and the characters feel floaty. Now, on top of all that, the game doesn't even have a save system. So whenever you die, you get this password screen. So you have to rummage around, look for a piece of paper to write down the code. It's dated, it's boring. I give it a 6 out of 10. Now let's talk a bit about Ridge Racer. The graphics in this game, man, this is truly the next generation of racing games. Each race starts with this beautiful girl walking towards the camera, and it looks stunning. The game is very smooth, but does stutter when a lot of things are going on. The music to this game is absolutely awful and actually had me laughing. It's a bunch of weird electronic music. You have a single track to race on with some minor variances on it. There's no new content in this game. Why would I pay for it if I could pay 25 cents to play in an arcade? Now, one thing I did like doing was crashing into the other opponents. What I tried doing was turning around and running into them. But when you do that, the car just goes through you. That was the one thing I would have enjoyed about the game, and I can't even do that. The whole game screams of a rushed product that had to get out for the launch of the PlayStation. In the end, it's a pretty game, but there's no content in it. I give it a 3 out of 10. So the Dreamcast is Sega's next entry into the market. It's got great graphics, a built-in modem for internet play, a CD player, and attractive design. It's even got this cool memory card which they call the VMU. Now the cool thing about this is that it has an LCD screen on it, in which it can show you information about the game you're playing.
Not only that, but certain games also allow you to install a minigame onto it, so you can play it on the go. Sonic Adventure, for example, allows you to tame a creature on the go. Now, the problem is that this thing chews through batteries. It also doesn't use your common AA or AAA, but uses computer watch batteries instead. Those can be hard to find and can be expensive. The minigames take up a huge amount of space. You barely have enough room for another save file. While the thing is cool, it's so small that it's actually hard to play on it. The console also has many shortcomings. It still uses CDs as opposed to DVDs. Now, we already seen games on the PlayStation that span across multiple discs. The fact that we're going to have the same problem on Dreamcast is disappointing. The CD player feature also doesn't have the cool visualizations that the PlayStation had. The controller to this thing is just awful. Sony has already shown the usefulness of having 2 analog sticks. Why Sega would go back to using just one is somewhat archaic. It also has less buttons in general. You don't have an L1 or R1 or even the select button. However, the worst thing about the controller is that the cable comes up from the bottom, so it's very awkward when you're playing on your couch. I played Sonic Adventure on this, and the performance is really top notch. The game is nice and fast, the graphics look nice, and it's the best looking 3D world I've seen in a platformer yet. But there's no doubt that Sony has some great competition coming forward. Overall, I suggest waiting to see what Sony comes out with before getting the Dreamcast. I can't recommend it right now due to the many quirks of it, but if it gets enough games then it could be a good buy.
That's been interfering with Tornado's business. I'll teach you to fear Tornado.
Just look at his face.